First off, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior for going into our 11th season here. To be able to coach my alma mater is pretty awesome. I appreciate you guys, the media covering. Our baseball team, I know I'm not always the easiest to work with, but it's all in good fun, as Igo knows and Bailey knows and other guys. So, but I appreciate you guys supporting our program and just covering. A lot of newness in our program this year. I got 4 new staff members, new ops guy, Eddie Losner, who played here back in the day before me. He's older than I am, and then was our ops guy under Coach LeClaire. New strength coach and Hunter Reeves, new athletic trainer, and Hunter Martin, new academic advisor, and Fallon Morello, and 27 new players. So definitely been some newness, some growing pains for sure, but like the group we have, like the staff we have, of course, and every day is a new day. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna shut this door. Sorry about that, but I'll open up for questions.
Coach, with that newness, have you had to, I don't know, instill new patience within yourself, or how's that process going?
Probably certain days I've utilized patience, certain days I probably haven't. But definitely our coaches have done a really good job just coaching these guys every single day. It's definitely made us better as coaches, because we've had to probably look back and teach things that we haven't had to teach in the past at this stage, and that's okay. That's why we're called coaches. And the thing that I have a ton of confidence is the staff that we have. Coach our players the right way. We're super knowledgeable about baseball, and we'll get our guys where they need to be.
As you went through the fall, I mean, what was that process kind of like as a coaching staff? How much of it is you guys having to do it versus having the players, have that commingling themselves?
Well, we had to do a lot of it, but you also have some returners that are key players, but key leaders in our program with Riley Johnson, Jake Hunter, Dixon Williams, Ethan Norby, Jaden Winter, and other guys that obviously they've been here. They've seen us do things the right way for a long time. They've seen us win a lot of baseball games. So they know what it takes to win at a high level. So our players helped a lot as well.
How is Riley coming along, health-wise after the shoulders?
Yeah, Riley's good. We're protecting him a little bit. We didn't let him play in the outfield this weekend. He might play some outfield next weekend, but he'll definitely play in the outfield the last weekend of scrimmages heading into the season. But he's great, and it's just great to see him back out there. He hit this weekend, and just seeing him move around was awesome.
Should we expect Dixon Williams at one particular position this year, or do you think is he going to become kind of a utility guy, because he's proven with the absence of Star last year that he can play more than just third base, obviously?
Yeah, I would think that you probably see him at different spots. If he played tomorrow, he definitely would play second base, but depending on how the pieces fall into place, I told our team this, is we definitely have the talent to be successful this year, but there's more unanswered questions on who's going to play where, who's going to hit where, who's going to pitch where, all that good stuff. And we will not be the team early on that will be at the end of the season. Some of it has to do with health, but also just figuring out the pieces that we need to put out there on any given day.
Just from what you've seen from practice, from a roster standpoint, what's the identity that you've noticed of this team just early on?
We definitely don't have the identity that we're looking for yet, but we still have a couple weeks, and I think, like I said, it's going to be just a progression as you go through the season. When you have 27 new players, 4 new staff members, getting to know one another, learning our system, it takes time. It takes longer than any of the coaches would like at times, but at the end of the day, that's what our job is, and we'll continue to cultivate these guys and get them where they need to go.
Seen a lot of coaches step down in college athletics that are veterans, legends, because the changes quite a bit. So how have you remained kind of motivated and into it, and not just get completely fed up with the way things have gone in college athletics?
The Riley Johnsons of the world, our staff, I get emotional because that's what keeps me here. But for me to sit here and say I like what's going on in college athletics, I'd be lying to you. So this place means a lot, but yeah, I'm not done yet. Not done yet, but when Tony Bennett retired, that really hit home to me, because I think that guy's a class act, and I don't know him. You know, a lot of people can talk the talk, but I believe that guy walked the walk, and he did it the right way. And I just respect him from afar, being a basketball guy. And but I think you're gonna see more of that, because there's more things that the coaches have to deal with today than they ever have. And I don't care how much money you make, it wears on you. And I don't envy anybody who's coaching at a high level in college athletics today. And if you're on the outside looking in and you wanna throw stones, hey, come live in our shoes for a little bit, I can tell you that, because it's a lot different. But we still have the right people in our organization, and as long as we can keep doing that, then I'm gonna keep on being the head coach here.
Speaking to the portal, obviously you bring in guys like, Boucher, obviously some pitchers. I mean, how do you feel like those guys are kind of acclimating and becoming part of this program?
I've really enjoyed the portal guys specifically. I've said this a lot publicly. I prayed about bringing the right people in, not the most talented. We have guys that are in that locker room that could have went to other places and got more NIL money. I want everybody to know this. None of our guys are getting rich here. We tried to cover the expenses of the guys that came from the portal. So if they were on 50% scholarship, we tried to cover up the rest of the cost to just get our foot in the door. But we don't pay players to come to East Carolina. We just try to make them be on a full ride, which, the rules are gonna change, I guess, depending on what the ruling is on April 7th by this judge, who has a lot of weight on their shoulders to make that decision. But the guys have really meshed well with our culture, and a couple of them specifically, I've just been really pleased with how much they came here. They want to win, they want to develop, whether they're a pitcher or position player, and that's been cool to be a part of.
Speaking on the newbies and getting so many new players in, it's a different process for you. Have you changed your approach on the team building? How's the offseason been, getting these guys together?
I wouldn't say we've changed our approach. We've probably had to be more patient at times with guys, for sure. And I think we've had to be more of an encouraging coach than maybe in the past, because these guys, sometimes their confidence kind of goes with however strong the wind's blowing. The comparison game's real, especially this day and age of just a ton of social media. They look up at what somebody else is doing and think they should be able to do that today. The days of having walk-ons come in like a Joey Barini and a Justin Wilcoxon and developing under our coaching staff and, earning their time. I hope there's still a guy or two that'll be able to do that in our program, but just the way the world pushes you, they want to go somewhere else so they can get playing time, immediately. So, but I don't think we have changed a whole lot. I mean, look, the foundation of what our culture is will never change as long as I'm the head coach here.
Coach, speaking on some of the newness, there's been multiple freshmen that came out in the camo DOD shirt, represent their defense. I seen it yesterday on Braden Burris, a guy from Snow Hill. Just tell me about how it's been to bring in some of those freshman class.
Yeah, the freshmen, they're definitely talented for sure. And we'll have some guys that'll definitely be in the opening day lineup that are freshmen. I mean, you look at a guy like Braxton Trammell, who's a switch hitter, he can play third base, he can play left field, was voted by his teammates the hardest working position player on the team. I mean, it's a freshman. Sean Jenkins, who I know all you guys have heard about, was voted the hardest working pitcher on the pitching staff by his teammates. I think that's pretty special when you got a group of freshmen like that. Alex Peltier, an outfielder, he's played really well. He's a freshman, can run, has a great arm. There's some other guys that I'm missing right now that are freshmen as well. Austin Irby, who, if we play tomorrow, will definitely be hitting in our lineup somewhere, can play first base. And I would say those guys are mature beyond their years because we pushed them and we hardened them in the fall. And I've told them, don't listen to the outside world. It doesn't matter that you're freshmen. Like, we've trained you to be hardened, and you're fine, and you're talented enough to have success this year, even though the game's a little bit older.
Speaking of Sean Jenkins, just how unique is it having a guy like him so young coming in here, and what's the potential for him in year one with how good he is?
Well, first time we've ever had somebody graduate early. Sean is a special talent, of course. Coach Palumbo, Coach Knight, brought it to my attention early in the spring and said, what do you think about it? I said, well, present it to the family and see what happens. And thank God Sean wanted to be a part of our program this year and not wait, because if he'd waited, we wouldn't have seen him. He'd be in professional baseball. But a guy that I've never been around a 17-year-old. Like, take away the talent, the maturity, the work ethic, the want to win, the want to be a great teammate. I told Trey Savage, I mean, he's kind of like Trey Savage mentality as a junior. Yeah, he's 17, but he doesn't act like he's 17. I mean, that's just the number that the age says on his date of birth, but the guy doesn't act like that. And when he goes out there and competes, it doesn't matter if Dixon Williams is in the box or some other guy. I mean, he's going out there and giving his best stuff. So we're definitely excited about him being a part of our program.
Coach, every year it seems like you have former players around helping you out, and great to have Francisco and Pack here. What do those guys do for your team, and how important is it to have those guys around?
You know, things kind of come full circle, Clip. That's been something that has kept me going as well, to have those guys and the pride they have in our program. Obviously, they were great players here, but the pride they have and the want to win for our guys, and then also them telling our guys now stories of stuff that they had to do back in the day to become successful. And they're obviously closer to our players' age than any of our coaches are, so it just helps our players probably relate to them a little bit more. But they're super passionate. They're part of our family. I'm just so thankful that they wanted to come back and just get back to our baseball program.
Coach, with Norby, kind of where you guys at with him as far as, do you want to start in the bullpen to begin with versus rotation? I guess how much of a luxury is it to have that as an option too?
It's a luxury for sure. Norb's has been great. Today's his birthday, so if you see him, tell him happy birthday. But he's awesome. I mean, he's super diligent with his work. He's super diligent, just wanting the team to win, but he's willing to do whatever. Probably to start with, you can see him out of the bullpen. He's going to be, you know, we don't necessarily have a closer, but the guy that comes into a jam and is going to get us out of a jam. And his stuff's been really good. And AK's worked with him a whole lot, developing a change up and just being able to get right-handed hitters out at a little higher clip than he did last year. I mean, he was always dominant against lefties, but now, I mean, he could be a Friday night starter, but I just appreciate his selflessness of wanting to be in the bullpen and have some experience so we can use him as a swing guy. And that's not to say that he won't start at some point in time.
Obviously, you lose Jada behind the plate. You know, just guy's been here for 5 years. How has Walker Barron kind of grown over this offseason to jump into that role potentially?
Yeah, Walker's come a long way. I mean, last year, you know, when we recruited him, we thought he would be a really good defender and probably take some time with the offensive side of the ball. Last year, he was a better offensive player than he was a defender, which that's all we needed him to be because we had J-Dub and Ryan McChrystal. He's worked really hard on his defense with Coach Lartee. He's worked hard on his offensive game as well. He looks like a guy that can go back there every single day and be a high-end catcher for sure. So we need to keep him healthy. We need for him to stay on top of his body care, which I've talked to him a whole lot because he's going to take on a big workload for us this year behind the plate for sure.
Cliff, you look more relaxed. I've been around here a long time and watching you. You just look, you kind of like going on in your personal life over the last few months. You just look a little more relaxed. Am I misreading that? Is that correct, or am I completely off base?
Well, give a shout out to Bree. So, yeah, there's some things more important than winning a baseball game, and sometimes it takes you longer to figure that out than you want to. But I don't know, internally, you still put that internal pressure on yourself because we've been so successful here consistently. And I think a lot of people have taken for granted what we've done here. What we've done here, and this isn't because of me, it's because of our staff and our players, but we've got the third most wins since 2018. Like, you know, just sit back and think about that in a world of portal and everything else and people playing players. So you got Arkansas, Tennessee, and East Carolina. No, we have not played in the College World Series, and I know that better than anybody. When you have been a player here and you make the last out in the Super Regional and then you become the head coach, and you know that's been your goal for a long time. But I would tell people the reason I'm sitting here is because we have not been to Omaha as me being the head coach. That doesn't mean when we get there one day I'm going to take another head coaching job, but that has kept me here in my younger, immature years for sure, and I'm thankful for that. I'm more comfortable in my own skin today than I was 5 years ago. But for me to say that, hey, I don't worry about stuff, that would be a lie. So I still worry about stuff.
Coach, I believe this is the first year in 7 years that you guys will start the season unranked. Does that add any extra motivation going into the season?
You know, somebody told me that, and you know, me being the competitor, you know, like we put together pretty good bodies of work for the past 7 years, like you said, and you know, a little bit lack of respect, maybe, I don't know, but our players need to go out there and do the job. If they do the job, then it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and we've always said that. And there's been times when in 17, I think we were 7th in the country preseason, and we finished dead last in the conference. So you can look at it however you want to, but it definitely motivates me, and I'm sure it motivates some of our players as well.
So in asking this question, I'm not asking about the bat, I'm not asking about the first baseman, I'm asking about the human being, Carter Cunningham. You're having to replace him as a leader on this team. Who is kind of stepping into that Carter Cunningham role? Because I feel like that's who all the other players looked up to last year.
Well, I don't think you're going to replace Carter. I think it's going to take a couple guys. I think Parker Bird for sure. Parker Bird's a great leader within our program. Riley Johnson. The pride that those guys, and Parker's obviously been through a traumatic event, but the pride he has in East Carolina baseball. Riley Johnson, the 5th-year guy, the pride that he has. And I'm just talking about the position player side because you talked about Carter, but those guys for sure. And then you've got guys like Boucher, who's a first-year player. I mean, the guys from Greenville, like, he has a lot of pride in ECU, even though he's been here for like 6 months. Dixon Williams as well. So there's definitely guys out there that care a lot, and when you have that, then when you have issues, man, they're going to figure it out, and I have a lot of confidence.
Any rule changes you know of, or added emphasis from umpires this year? Anything you know about going into the season?
Well, I'll let AK talk about the pitching side of things because he's super excited about some of that stuff and checking for foreign substance and stuff. It's just, to be honest with you, I feel bad for umpires because they have so much on their plate now with the 20-second clock, new base, got to check for foreign substances. We had a scrimmage yesterday, and you know, Wilson Rainer's like, hey, can I just practice doing that? Because I've never done that before. And we're like, yeah, for sure. So it's just a lot of newness, and I know they're trying to make the game better. For me, I wish they would have just gone to the bigger base like professional baseball, because that's going to happen at some point in time, because that's what we always do is we follow the pro game at some point in time. So it definitely has some newness for the first baseman. Obviously got 2 bases over there. You have to use the white base just on a regular routine ground ball, but if it's strike 3 and it kicks to the foul line, the first base side, you can use the orange base. So it's just different stuff. And then one of our players the other day didn't hit the orange base, so you would be out, you know, if you don't hit the white base running through there. So, or excuse me, they did not hit the orange base, they hit the white base, so you'd be out on the ground ball.
Looking at the outfield, you know Riley's in center, but kind of who are some other candidates to fill out the corner spots, and how confident are you in those spots as well?
Yeah. Keenan Bowman played really well in the fall, and he's continued to do that this spring, so you can see him in left or right. I mentioned Braxton Trammell, he could be out in left field as well. In right, Alex Peltier could be in right field, but he can play all 3 spots. Davin Whitaker could be out there. You can see Dixon Williams out there on any given day. So we feel confident that we have the bodies and the talent to be out there, just be new faces out there.
Coach, the turf has been a popular topic on social media. I don't know how much you pay attention to that, but just
I actually haven't been on social media. I haven't put my devotionals out, I go, so I have not checked in on that. So,
well, it's just kind of obviously I ought to redo that area. What kind of led to that, and then doing it down the lines as well?
Well, we got it done initially right before the season started in 17, and then you just got the wear and tear of just dirt, you know, washing off into that area, especially behind home plate was probably the worst look. I had several donors last year. Hey, how do we fix that? How will you make that look better? I was like, oh, $400,000. That's how we fix it. So thankful for John Gilbert and the donors doing that for sure. But we just decided to turf home plate and then the baselines just because it just helps maintain the field. I'm a traditionalist. I like the dirt, but I didn't want to get an entire turf field, which that would have been a lot more money than $400,000. But that's what we did.
Coach, speaking of the donors, can you talk about the Pirates Unite campaign where the baseball expansion is something I know you and I have talked about way back in COVID year. You said we're going to have to wait on that, and we're pretty close, if not finally have the money, and eventually we'll have all that stuff that you've been wanting for a number of years.
Well, we just like kicked it off right before COVID hit, and then of course you go inflation, so it ended up being, you know, closer to $10-11 million project. And we have the money raised now, thank God, because I'm tired of being a fundraiser. We're going to break ground in the summer at some point in time. So it's got to go to the Board of Trustees, it's got to go to the Board of Governors. So we're excited about that. So it will definitely happen this summer at some point in time.
Anything else from Coach?
Awesome, thank you guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.